And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
Because all the blessings that we're going to get, which is entailing the kingdom of heaven. Isaiah the 60th chapter, I'm going to start at the 10th verse and read on down. It says, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. So the sons of strangers, that's talking about the actual strangers, the other nations, shall build up thy walls. We're going to have them in slavery. So they're going to be building the kingdom of heaven, because we're not building nothing. We're not lifting a hand to move nothing. It says, for in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles. That's talking about the actual Gentiles. We're going to take all of their substance, and that their kings may be brought.
And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Verse 13, and the glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, the box together to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. So the land of Israel, the land of Jerusalem, is going to be made glorious. It's going to be made glorious once again. The kingdom is going to be built up. We had a taste of that during the time of Solomon's reign, which was for about 40 years. Verse 14, the sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet. And they shall call thee the city of the Lord. The word Zion means monument, the monument of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shall suck the breasts of kings, meaning we're going to take all their substance. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord thy power, the Lord and thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. For brass I will bring thee gold, and for iron I will bring thee silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. And I will make thy officers peace, and thine exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. The sun shall no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee, but the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and the power no more go down, meaning our kingdom is not going to go down. In other words, once we get back in power, we're going to be in power forever. The sun is never going to go down on our kingdom again. The sun is never going to set on our kingdom. We're going to always shine, and we're going to always be in that glory once we get into the kingdom of heaven. There's no more going back into slavery under the other nations. Esau's not going to rise back up and put us in captivity. Ham, Japheth, Ishmael, none of the other nations are going to rise up and take us down ever again. When we get on top this time, we're going to remain on top. Neither shall thy moon withdraw itself, for the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. So no more mourning, no more crying, no more vexation of spirit, no more weeping, no more hopelessness because of the condition that we're in as Israelites right now. Verse 21, thy people also shall be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever. The branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. Verse 22, a little one shall become 1,000. This is in the kingdom. So what is this talking about? We're going to have sex. Again, like I said, The 2/3 that are going to pass in this destruction, the 2/3 are going to come back through the 1/3 that make it. The Lord said, 2/3 shall be cut off and die, and the third will I bring through the fire. It says, a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Makakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples who are shown brothers. And peace and blessing salutations to the hopeful elect out there pushing this word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh by Shemal Shai. All right. And we got quite a few things going on. All right. As we know, prophecy is on the uptick. More things are happening and they're happening more frequent. As a matter of fact, let's go there real quick. Okay. Let's get that in Second Esdras, the 16th chapter. Okay. And we'll expound on it from there. All right, so this morning news and prophecy, we're going to cover a few things. Got quite a few videos, want to touch on. Okay, just going into the times that we're in, and Yahweh by Shemal Shai is doing a marvelous work, man. If you in the spirit, man, it's like we're going into our Passover and things are just intensifying all the way into the Passover, man. This is a very spiritual time. This is a very heavy time in prophecy, and the Lord is making moves, man. The Lord is wrapping this shit up, just to be blunt and straightforward. The Most High is wrapping up Esau's kingdom, man. Okay, and he's causing this man, all right, to make moves. Okay, that's going to bring his own end. Okay, because this new world order is a failure. All right, the Lord has allowed us, to, be able to watch, and the scriptures say an inquisition will be made of this devil, which is a thorough investigation, and we see, man, that this nigga's a fraud. Okay, his new world order, okay, is stupid. All right, and he's not going to be able to pull it off. He doesn't even have the means to pull it off. Okay, this devil is going to attempt, to throw this thing together. All right, it's going to be rushed. It's going to be tacky, and this nigga finna lose, man. Okay, he's finna cause civil unrest. The Lord finna allow this, man. That's the Lord using Esau to bring judgment, man. This judgment that's coming is not even of Esau. The Lord is just using this man as a vessel. Esau's a tool. That's why scriptures refer to Esau what is the sword. It's thy sword. The sword of who? The Most High on the left-hand side. Okay, and this devil is being used for his, all right, last few purposes, and he's out of here, man. Okay, Esau ain't got no ground to stand on, man. All right, every day he's going further and further, okay, into sedition, man. Perdition, which is destruction, man. Okay, so we read this in 2nd Esdras 16:37 said, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack." All right, and things are not slacking. The Lord is taking the slack out of prophecy, man, to where things are back to back, more frequent, more intense, man. And this war is escalating, man. This thing is escalating. This ain't just another, all right, conflict and just something to talk. No, this thing is escalating, man. Okay, this is going to have a major ripple effect in the earth, and this is the Third World War. Okay, all the nations that's spoken of to get involved in this Third World War are already playing a part. Europe is being heavily infected. The pressures on Europe, they're going to have to do something. They can't just sit there and not get oil. Okay? Russia and China, they can't let if America somehow started getting the up on Iran, Russia and China can't let that go. Okay, so the storyline of World War III has started. Okay, all the members are already active or on deck to get active in this war, man. The kings of the east, the 10 horns, okay, the alliances of Ezekiel 38. Everybody is on deck. Everybody is on standby. Either they're actively participate in some capacity or they're on standby. Okay. So the Lord has this thing, He's taking the slack out of everything, man. You know? So things are becoming more rapid and more intense. And it says, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compares her womb, which pains when the child coming forth, they slack not a moment, man. And we're seeing things slack not a moment. You know, it's rapid fire, man. You see, you miss an hour, you miss a lot. Okay, there's so much developing and so many, domestically, internationally. You see, and that's why the Lord got a body, you know, to where brothers is on their watch, man. Brothers is, going into different things, different perspectives, and they're bringing it out according to the scriptures, man. It says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side, man. And we're seeing sorrows, all right, getting ready to come up on this place on every side, man. Okay, people are about to be hurt. You see, this comfortable life of these Western governments, these Western nations, these first world countries, man, especially in America, man, this comfort finna be snatched away. Okay, the Lord is utilizing Esau and his ambition for a new world order to bring order out of chaos. Well, in this chaos, man, the Lord's gonna be doing a lot of judging, and this chaos is finna be brought to the earth, man, because ultimately it's the Lord bringing the chaos, man. He's just using the elites to do it. Okay. Verse 40 says, um, "Oh my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle, and in those evils, those bad times, be even as pilgrims upon the earth, man, because it's time to get out of here, man. A pilgrim is someone that's passing through, okay, that's on they're saying religious journey, okay. Well, we know we on a journey in the truth, man, and America was just a pass through, okay. This is not our rest. This is not our home. Okay, we have an inheritance, okay, in the land of Israel, man. And it's gonna be the true, all right, inheritance of Israel, that whole land, okay, from the Nile, all right, to the Euphrates, man. Okay, according to scripture, according to what was given to our forefathers, man, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You see, and this is what these devils they want to try to establish, with this war is their greater Israel project, and that's something that these devils Amalek want, all right, more than anything. So Amalek is just wilding, okay? They're just out here wilding, man. All right. So let's go from there. Let's get this real quick. I got quite a few things I want to tap into, but let's get this. Then we can go into some of the videos. Let's go to Second Ezra's. Uh, all right, because hey, the pain from to come to America, man. You proud, all right. You proud, rebellious as Americans, man. Okay, the Lord finna bring the pain. You see, and this is just the beginning. In America, everything is a joke. Here it is. Judgment is, heavy prophecies going forth, and people in America still have this dumb, goofy spirit on them, man. Okay, but the Most High finna break that up with real tribulation, man. This thing's gonna rapidly turn into something that's a nightmare. Okay, that's not gonna be turned off until the Lord have fulfilled, all right, His anger and judgment, man. Okay, Second Ezra 8:50 said, "For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride, man." Okay, so there's miseries to come, all right, to the world, especially in America, man. All right, the most proud nation. The scripture say, "Oh, thou most proud." When you go to Jeremiah, when it speaks of America, it says, "Oh, thou most proud." Okay, when it deals with America, man. All right. So that's why it's going to be the most horrific judgment, the most horrific miseries that's going to come to America, man. It's going to be starvation, famines, extreme violence, all these guns floating around America with all these bugged out people. Okay, the Lord is finna cause a scene in America. He's finna set the atmosphere in America, man. Okay, well, it's gonna be the worst place to be. You see, people, talk about, the draft. That's the main thing. How they gonna dodge the draft and they not going to fight. Well, look, the draft is just one of many things that the Lord's going to use to judge. Okay, because it's gonna come a time when America gonna be the worst place to be. Okay, America gonna be worse than the front lines World War III before it's over with, man. What the Lord getting ready to do to America, man. Okay, so let's go from there. Let's get this first video. First, I want to address this because now you have, because the energy crisis is gonna get worse. All right, so now you have people having this mindset that okay, well, if we get um if we get electric cars, we'll be good. All right, but they don't understand the agenda of the elites. All right, people are walking right into the trap. You see, people are just walking right into this trap of the New World Order, which the New World Order is based on what? Control. Okay, and they want to make the shift from gas cars to electric cars. Man, it gives them more control. Okay, that makes it easier for AI. All right, to govern. All right, these electric cars, man. Okay, so people think that you have some people, they're going back and forth about these cars. Okay, but at the end of the day, okay, these electric cars, all right, even when you go into Tesla, okay, we have to understand it's all military technology, man. Okay, and it's all part of the DPI, digital public infrastructure. Okay, these electric cars. All right, now if you got one, you're not going off. Okay, you use the world, not abuse it. But when you think that you're making a power move by going from a gas car to electric, all right, and you're gonna, dodge the energy crisis because you got an electric car. Okay, you're sadly mistaken, man. You're playing right into the trap of the elites. Okay, so let's play this.
These gas prices are getting so high, my Lyft riders are asking me about driving a Tesla. And it's different. It's different than the normal, like, stupid questions that people ask. Like, oh, are you worried about running, getting stranded on the side of the road? Like, no, I charge my car like I charge my phone. Like, when it's low, I plug it in. It's not that hard. No, these are, like, serious, open questions about driving an EV. And I'm like, you're just going to buy a car right now because the gas prices are so high? Like, the time to get an EV is not when the gas prices get high right now, unless you're like rich, and then it doesn't matter either way.
Yeah, and I think that is a valid question, guys. You got a lot of people right now as we speak that are trying to buy EVs because they are like, it's just way too expensive. But like he said in the video, it's not right now that it's the best time to buy EVs. It was pretty much a couple years ago if you want to truly take advantage of times like this. And when we talk about the average of gas right now, just regular gas, your 87 gas at the gas station is $3.19, 92 cents, as a matter of fact. We're almost at $4. And when we talk about just a month ago, we were $1 less. And even a year ago, it was a little bit higher. But like I said, in the grand scheme of things, this is where we are. Now, diesel fuel, $5.15. And just a year ago, we were at $3.06. So we're talking about almost $2 increases on that. And this is the gas prices as we speak. And they've been going up every single day. Hence what you saw yesterday was $3.84, and now we're at $3.92. So anyways, in the grand scheme of things, this is what people are talking about doing. I'm not saying it's the worst financial decision. I just think that, you're kind of behind the curve. So for you to buy an electric vehicle right now, I think for you to truly see the return on investment, you would have had to buy a couple years ago. Let's just call it what it is. But let's dive deeper into this video.
Electric vehicles are garbage. No one wants that electric garbage until gas hit about $5-6 a gallon, which is probably going to happen real soon.
Yeah.
And you see this vehicle right here, Mazda CX-9, just regular family vehicle, 20 gallon tank. It's going to cost about $100 to fill that thing up. And this 1,025 horsepower Rivian R1T, which is electric, is going to cost about $20 to fill. And so if EVs are dead, they're going to rise back up like Lazarus.
Yeah.
And, simple, cars, Winslow niggas like this, and people think that this is, a way to sidestep, this energy crisis that's coming. Okay. Well, what about when the grid goes out? Okay. There's so much that's finna happen. Electric car is not a savior. Now, okay, it can, all right, give you an advantage, in the short run. Okay. But as far as we're talking about the time of tribulation, the worst time ever, okay, electric car ain't the savior, man. Okay, if you got it, you utilize it, help you, benefit you, particularly, but looking at it like it's a savior, okay? And that's what people think. They think they got these bright ideas to try to sidestep what's coming. Nah, man, you finna have to deal, okay, with all this, man. And these electric cars, you don't think they can control these things from these centers, these what you call these central commands. Okay, you don't think Esau can take over that electric car, shut it down where you can't crank it? Okay, make it to where it can't take no charge, man. All right, the new system is all about control, and they have far more control of electric cars than these gas cars, especially the older model gas cars, man. Okay, you got Jake. All right, his mind simple. Okay, Americans are simple, man. Okay, and you Americans are for the taking. Okay. Let's play this.
That's
more.
the thing. You're going to see a lot of these companies' valuations start to go up. Your Teslas, your Fords, and all these different things, especially if this continues to last as long as I think it's truly going to be, because I don't think this is going to end anytime soon. Almost so much to the point to where I even consider it myself. I was like, hey, should I get an electric vehicle? Because, when I go to the gas station, I got just a regular Honda Accord, right? Just a regular car. When I go to the gas station to fill up that car, it was like $25 to fill it up. Now it is almost $50 to fill up my gas tank, guys. And this is real life. And maybe the numbers are a little off, maybe the gas, whatever. Y'all know what I'm saying. I'm not saying those are exact numbers, but it's so much more expensive than where I was previously. And of course, and just like how I'm experiencing this, so many other people are experiencing this. But hey, this is a video of somebody actually going out and buying their car, the electric vehicle that we're talking
Come
about.
with me to never have to buy gas again. Y'all heard it right. I bought my first electric vehicle for Christmas, and y'all, it was seriously such an experience. And let me tell you, I thought about this for about a year because, I had my reservations about Mr. Elon, but ultimately, this ended up being the most affordable, the most safe electric vehicle out there. And so I just decided to bite the bullet and really commit to reducing our reliance on oil and gas. So as you can see here, she's walking me through kind of the do's and don'ts of the car, but honestly, they put you in there and kind of just let you go. So I was a little nervous. This is me hyping myself up, but ultimately got in and drove myself all the way home. It was honestly just such a great day, really quick, did everything in the app, and I'm happy to be a part of the family.
Simple as can be, all right? And who more simple than the nigga woman? But let's go from there. So let's go to this real quick, all right? And let's show you how the leaks, they're herding everybody, into this digital infrastructure, man. Yeah. So let's pull this up real quick. All right, let's pull this up. Okay, it says, so I said, would an electric car be more compatible with digital infrastructure? It says, yes, electric vehicles, EVs, are inherently more compatible with digital infrastructure than internal combustion engine, all right, vehicles, because EVs are essentially software driven connected devices on wheels. They seamlessly integrate with modern smart city. You see that? They integrate with modern smart city ecosystems, advanced energy grids, and intelligent traffic management systems. Okay. So these electric cars, especially dealing with Tesla, okay, because there's nothing but military, all right, technology, man. Okay, it has nothing to do with Elon. Elon, all right, didn't create the Tesla in his basement. Okay, there's military technology, man. He's just a mascot of it. Okay, to make it seem like it's a private corporation. Okay, which makes it, and then it's popular now. You know, the Tesla is popular. Americans, you know, you're all about buying anything that's a symbol of status. Okay, so what you're doing, all right, you're just buying more technology. They're getting you more dependent on this technology. All right, they're making you more part of this digital infrastructure, and the last thing gonna be to put that C hip in you. Okay, because guess what? It's gonna come a time where your Tesla or electric vehicle will not crank unless you have that C hip. Okay, this is gonna come a time when your electric vehicle will not crank unless you have that C hip, man. And it just gives them more and more control, man. You know, your car is gonna be linked to your ID. Your ID is gonna be you're just gonna be engulfed in this grid, man. Okay, your whereabouts, you know, it's gonna be easier to track you because the electric vehicle is a big tracking device, man. Your data points, there's cameras everywhere, looking at your mood, your facial expressions, man. It's nothing but a big data collecting tracking device, man. Okay, military technology, man. Okay, that's gonna merge you more, all right, with the digital infrastructure, man. Okay, it said they seamlessly integrate with the modern smart city ecosystems, advanced energy grid, and intelligent traffic management systems, man. Okay, a whole nother level of control. You see, and then you still super. Now you're super dependent on the grid even more. Okay, it says smart grid, um, integration vehicle to grid. EVs are not just consumers of energy; they are mobile storage units that communicate bi-directionally with the power grid. Smart grids use data to manage charging times, balancing load demand, and integrating renewable, all right, energy resources, man. So the vehicle itself is going to be constantly communicating with the grid, all right, with the digital, all right, infrastructure. Connected EVs act as data nodes, continuously transmitting information about traffic, changing patterns, and battery health, so forth and so on. But ultimately, man, all right, this is what they want people to integrate and go electric, man. Okay, now let's go here, which uh, let's get this video, and it's something I noticed the other day. You know, I don't know if y'all know this too, but they talking about the gas. You know, it's burning faster these days. You know, so let's play this. All right, and the devil, he just all about bringing the squeeze, man. Okay, because he wants people desperate, man. All right, because remember, it's an economic siege on the masses. Okay, you American people have to understand your government is at full out war with you, man. Okay, so let's play this.
Is it just me, or does it seem like gas is burning a lot faster than it normally does? I go to the same three places every day: to work, to home, and to the gym. And this week alone, I have used more than twice as much gas as I normally use. Something's up with the gas.
I know gas is expensive right now, but is anybody else realizing that their gas is going quicker? And I don't mean because it's more expensive. Hold on. I mean, literally. I put 93 in this 93, and it's not doing what it used to do. Let me find out. Y'all taxing us and watering this down. Anybody else? I'm actually so serious. Track your You know, that's how you like you tell if you need maintenance or you need something. I want your opinion. Is gas not lasting what it did before? I know it's expensive. Answer the question.
People is starting to notice that this gas is burning faster than normal. Ever since the gas prices went up, and now that we are in WA, you know what, R, the gas is going up, but it's burning so fast. And I kept seeing video. Well, what's crazy is I told my mama last week, I say, I'm filling my tank up, but it's only lasting me for like 3 days. And I ain't doing nothing crazy. I'm doing my same routine. It's only lasting me for like 3, maybe 4 days, when normally I fill my tank up and lasts me for a week. And I asked my mama, I said, well, have you noticed a change in your gas? She said, yes. And my mama don't even go nowhere. Child, that woman be home. She go get a little groceries or whatnot. Mama don't be going nowhere, y'all. And she said, yeah, because I thought I mispumped. I thought, I didn't pump the full amount.
With USAA Safe Pilot, I can save when I drive safely.
With USAA Safe Pilot Miles, I can save when...
Come on now.
Is it just me, or does it seem like gas is
high gas mileage? As a matter of fact, it is faster than normal, and myself included.
I thought I mispumped. I thought, I didn't pump the full amount. Pay attention.
I am so glad this topic right here came across my For You page, because all over the internet, I've been seeing everywhere where gas is burning faster than normal. And myself included, I've gone to the gas station like 3 times within the past 2 weeks. And I don't drive, a crazy car. I got a Honda Accord, guys. Like your least burning gas, your high gas mileage. As a matter of fact, it is a hybrid at that. And the fact that my gas has been burning so fast within my car is insane. I experienced it. So many people around the world have experienced it. I even decided to do a little bit of research on the situation and see what is going on. But yes, of course, different types of gas does burn at different speeds, of course.
Yeah, so you have that going on, which I heard the brothers in Dallas mention that at camp the other day, about the gas burning faster. So you had a higher price of gas burning faster. So yeah, man, we know that this system, okay, that these devils are all about putting the squeeze on the masses, man. Okay. And ultimately they're getting ready to do a reset. Okay. So an energy crisis, all right, will move the needle a lot for them. Okay. And he has multiple things going on. Like I said, he wants people to, get these electric cars, which is to take on more debt. And this is a terrible time to go get a fresh car note. Okay. This is a terrible time to do that. Okay. But you're going to have people, all right, that's switching to these EVs. Okay. And you're going to have people that just can't afford, to move around and do what they need to do, man. So, pretty soon these goods are going to stop traveling. More businesses are going to be shutting down. Okay. So these devils, they know if they got a short time. All right. Matter of fact, that's the brother. He put that. And then we'll segue to another video. All right. Let me go ahead and cue this video up. So let's go here. Then we'll got one more, because the other day, let me see. Yeah, let's go here. All right. Well, let's read this first. This Revelation 12:12 from the brother warriors of Yahushua. It said, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have for the short time. So this devil has a short time, man. All right. So this devil has to go ahead with his move. Esau don't got time on his side. He got to go with his move, man. Okay. He needs crisis. He needs a crisis to really usher this thing in. Okay. And he needs people. Well, he needs everyone hurting. He needs everyone financially desperate. Okay. But this devil, he's ushering in chaos, man. All right. And every day that the Strait of Hormuz is shut down, every day that this war is going up, all right, that's going to drive, all right, gas prices, which is going to affect the whole global economy, man. And that's what these devils want. Okay. These elites. All right. They need it for the sake of bringing chaos for New World Order's sake. Okay. This is what these devils need. You see? So we're just going to see the squeeze get tighter, more job loss, gas going to continue to rise. Okay. We're going to see, businesses shut down, trucking, certain trucking companies not going to be able to weather the storm. Okay. And then also what can drastically change is a false flag event. Okay. And I want to get this video here because they're telegraphing of a false flag. See, these devils said about a week ago about, beware of a Iranian drone attack, Iranian drone attack from in LA. The FBI gave this warning, a heads up, beware of an Iranian drone attack in LA. And then I found this video here. I said, oh, these devils are really telegraphing it, man. So now we're at a time where these devils can do something any day and blaming on Iran. Like I said, they can do cyber attacks, shut the grid down. They can do false flags, okay, which could invoke martial law. Okay, they want digital ID. See, it's a lot that these devils can spend, with this war going on. Okay, because at least know their time is short to roll this thing out. Okay, and they've been telegraphing this false flag. So I seen this, man. And one thing you notice about these news, they echo the same thing. Okay, well, just listen to this. All right, and immediately it's these devils, man. All right, let's play this.
Well, over the past few days, unidentified drones were spotted flying over a Washington Army base named Fort McNair. It's a base that doesn't usually find itself in the spotlight, but this time the situation has raised more questions than answers because Fort McNair houses senior leaders of the Trump administration, including U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. According to reports, multiple drones were seen on at least one night in the past 10 days. Officials still don't know where they came from or who was operating them.
ABC News has learned that what was thought to be a single unauthorized drone flight over a Louisiana Air Force base was actually a wave of illegal drone incursions. That information was contained in a confidential briefing document reviewed by ABC News. The document described the incursions as a significant threat to public safety and national security.
The mystery drones over a major U.S. military base in Louisiana. Waves of high-tech drones flying over the highly sensitive area. That base housing B-52 bombers and the Air Force's nuclear command. So who's behind the drones?
As we first told you on March 9th, Barksdale Air Force Base went lockdown after an unauthorized drone flew into the base's airspace.
Between March 9th and March 15th, the document said Barksdale security forces observed multiple waves of 12 to 15 drones operating over sensitive areas of the installation, which houses the Air Force's nuclear command and B-52 bombers. A spokesman confirmed Barksdale Air Force Base detected multiple unauthorized drones operating in our airspace during the week of March 9th. The spokesman said we are working closely with federal and local law enforcement agencies to investigate these incursions. The drones were unlike what's commercially available. They were high-tech with a much longer range and are resistant to jamming.
Certainly, it seemed to be more than just your average drone enthusiast who just pushed it too far. It looked like this was deliberate. and intentional.
Well, we've got new details emerging about the drone sighting that caused a lockdown at one of the largest and most strategic Air Force bases last week.
A confidential internal briefing document reviewed by ABC News reveals that the situation in Louisiana may have been more dangerous than first reported.
ABC's Aaron Kotersky joins us here with exclusive reporting. Aaron.
Sade, an unauthorized drone raised alarms this month at one of the nation's most important Air Force bases. And ABC News can now report it was far more serious and potentially more dangerous than the military first let on.
And the Air Force was not able to do anything to stop them.
The drones operated.
Come on, man. Okay? Come on, man. There's no way, all right, that these drones are getting this close to a military, all right, air base in America. There's no way that a foreign object, any foreign object, can get that close to a military air base. Okay? And then they said it can't be hacked. Like the military couldn't hack into these drones. So you just got 12 to 15 mysterious drones just doing what they want. Okay? It's BS, man. Okay? Americans have the technology, okay, because see, that's why Iran had to tighten up, okay, on their drones, because America used to be able to, with those Iranian drones, they used to be able to hack those drones, okay, and make them land in the middle of the desert nowhere and redirect them, man. So you mean to tell me that they can hack drones real time while they're in the air and change its coordinates, okay? But then when it comes to these drones, it's over here just flying around freely in American airspace, okay, and it can't be hacked. All right, this is nothing but, all right, propaganda for a false flag, man. All right, so these devils got something up their sleeves, man. This is some heavy times we in. This is, hey, these devils domestically and abroad is going down. You know, we dealing with what's going on domestically, but it's going down. Okay, and the fact, and you see, they keep repeating. The news keep repeating the same thing, man, because they're putting that propaganda, they're putting that enchantment out there, man. Okay, that they already have foreign drones working in their operating in their airspace, man, which is complete BS, man. Okay, so you're gonna keep hearing it, you're just gonna keep hearing the same echo, all right, because these devils are pushing this propaganda and softening it up, okay, for some type of false flag, man. You know,
in loose formations, then dispersed across sensitive locations on the base, and they're unlike anything available off the shelf. The document said these drones have a much longer range and are resistant to jamming.
The sophistication we see in both how the drones were employed and the kinds of drones don't point to some hobbyist. They point to a state actor.
The document described the incursions as a significant threat to public safety and national security. Between March 9th and 15th, the document said the security forces at Barksdale Air Force Base in Shreveport observed multiple waves of 12 to 15 drones over sensitive areas. The drones were reportedly unlike what's commercially available, with a much longer range and resistant to jamming. A base spokesperson says they are working closely with federal and local enforcement, law enforcement, that is, to investigate.
Seeing this probe on a base inside the United States is very troubling.
These incursions came little more than a week after the start of the war in Iran, where drones have become a weapon of choice. The document we reviewed said the unauthorized...
Here we go. All right, here we go. All right, they done introduced the boogeyman, the scapegoat. All right.
Authorized flights are likely to continue. American law enforcement officials have long been concerned, guys, that the United States homeland is just ill-equipped to deal with drones and need to make the defenses better.
You know, just hearing this, I'm thinking, why didn't they just shoot one of those down to try to gain access to some of the tech and information?
And it's a great question, Sade, and there's a concern about if you shoot it down, where does it land? Who does it hit potentially? What danger does that bring? And so the real fear is that there is no real protocol to deal with this, even at a military installation as sensitive as Barksdale.
I want to know
who's going now. 12 to 15 drones?
Yeah, but who is behind it? That's the big question. It's a really disturbing kind of news. All right, thanks a lot, Aaron.
Senior officials reportedly held internal discussions about possibly relocating both Rubio and Hegseth. However, no such action was taken. After the incidents, The US Army was placed on heightened alert. Well, these developments come against the backdrop of rising tensions between the US, Israel, and Iran.
What more can you tell us about these drones?
You don't feel like getting up, going out, or working out? Sounds like you don't feel like much of a man anymore. It's not your fault.
Well, importantly, the administration has not determined what they are, where they came from, or what threat they posed. But obviously, they were detected because of this higher threat environment, this elevated state of alert that the military has on because of the war in Iran. And very concerningly, they look similar to drones that appeared around other U.S. officials in the past who Iran has wanted to kill in retaliation for a previous strike against Iran that killed one of their generals in 2020. So for people who remember the 2024 Trump campaign and some of the threats to former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and John Bolton, Iran has this track record of wanting to assassinate U.S. officials who they hold responsible.
So, David, how concerned are American officials right now about potential Iranian retaliation here in the U.S.?
There are concerns because Joe Kent, who's the head of the National Counterterrorism Center, just resigned. That post is empty. And it's a variety of things. It could be these drones. And Isaac's right. It was a great story. There's so little regulation or understanding of the drones that are in the air in this country. There was all those things in New Jersey about a year ago, but it's not clear. Other threats would be more of a homegrown attack.
Well, the administration has not made a determination on where these drones came from, who was operating them, and what kind of threat they pose. But obviously, this is a concern because of the war going on in Iran. And drones like this have appeared in the past surrounding U.S. officials who Iran has been known to be targeting, who they have wanted to assassinate, including President Trump during the 2024 campaign.
What do we know about these drones, right? We're talking about Fort McNair. This is in Washington, D.C., where there is already a restricted airspace here. How high are they flying? And really, how does that interact with the restriction of the airspace? I can't imagine that something like this would not be shot down if the ability were there for it, given the fact that we're talking about part of the administration here.
Well, and remember, it's right across the river from DCA. So there's a lot of activity in that airspace. And, it's the kind of thing where, the military is on a heightened alert now, which is why they detected this. It's possible that stuff like this kind of happens all the time and ordinarily no one is looking for it. But in this case, in the past 10 days, there was one night where there were multiple of these unidentified devices that were spotted over these residences. And that was a clear concern that led to discussion about whether they needed to move. And ultimately, they didn't. But there was a meeting at the White House this week about what to do about this.
So do we know how high? I mean, they're clearly visible. People are seeing them from Fort McNair.
Well, I'm not sure if they were sighted with the naked eye as opposed to using detection technology.
Okay, so we don't know. Got it. So that's the clarification there. Is there like radar detection, given the fact that you're talking about DCA there? We know about the airspace, about the VIPs who transport there with other aircraft like helicopters, the possibility that may have been sighted on radar then?
Right. Again, this is something that the military was paying closer attention to because of the heightened threat environment with the war in Iran.
Yeah, man. So it seemed like they're telegraphing something, and like I say, there's complete BS, that drones are just flying freely over American military bases. All right. Those radars that's on those military bases, like in Louisiana, all right, they can see, all right, everything in the state of Louisiana, part of Texas, part of Mississippi, part of Arkansas. Okay, it covers a crazy radius, when you get to them radars. Okay, that's those radars that Iran is destroying over there in the Middle East. Okay, those are multi-$100 million, up to $1 billion, all right, radars, man. Okay, ain't no drone creeping up on no military airbase, man. Okay. So they're running with that narrative. So it's like they setting the stage, man. We'll see, but let's segue. Matter of fact, if a brother can get that, let's get that in 2 Corinthians 2:11 in the NLT Bible shop. So let's segue here, okay, to what we see going on now, okay, which is nothing but escalation, okay. So let's go here to the actual war. Let's go across the water, all right. Let's see. Let's go here, all right, because now well, he's going to explain it. You know, he's going to get into it. So things are just escalate. You know, like I said, this guy Mark Slabata, if I'm saying his name right. You know, he does some pretty good analysis on geopolitics and the war, certain things going on. Well, let's play a little bit of him. You know, he's going to expound on a few things about 6-7 minute clip. Okay, and then we'll go from there. The water broke. This is the brother Yashima tribe of Judah, 2 Corinthians 2:11 in NLT. So that Satan would not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes, man. You know, and as we've been watching this devil, you know, over the years, man. All right, you spot this nigga schemes immediately, man. Okay. And what he's speaking on, you know, with that military base and those drones, there's nothing but a stage being set for a false flag. Okay. And he has it going through his media echo chamber, which you can tell American media is nothing but actors, man. Okay, they just read a script. They're not there to inform you about anything. They're there to prepare you, all right, and enchant you and push propaganda, man. Okay, for what's coming down the pipe. Okay, they're there to give you a false narrative. Okay, that leads you into all right, the agenda of the elites, man. Okay, there's a lot of simple people that sitting there thinking, oh, it must be Iran. You know, it must be Russia, man. They here. You see? So when they go with they move, well, it's already the seed planted that they're having these foreign drone problems that can't be jammed. Okay, and there's a lot of people waking up to the BS too. You know, they're calling it out on the comment board. You know, false flag. Okay, because these devils, you know, their gimmick is up, man. They do the same thing. You know, the order out of chaos, the false flags. Okay, you know, Western media is being called out. So you know, this devil, he had but a short time, like the scriptures say, man. You know, he got to go and just force this new world. He gonna have to force it, man. You know, he got to do something drastic, man. So a black swan event, you know, something catastrophic, man, to just push this thing to a whole nother phase, man. So the stage is set for it. But let's play this. Let's get and also if a brother can go ahead and put Jeremiah 51 and 46. You know, Bible Shah. All right. That's also Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Okay, and 8. You see? So let's play this.
This has enormous global economic and global order potentially changing consequences, like the conflict in Ukraine, but particularly as far as energy, you know, and things, perhaps to an even greater extent. This is amazing, and the conflict has already spread across the entirety of the Middle East and beyond. Right? We've had actions from Sri Lanka all the way to Crete. I mean, that's how far this conflict has spread, and in the north, from the Caspian and Georgia, all the way down to the southern points of Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states. This is a regional conflict. It has spread horizontally so fast, involved so many countries, and the damage.
Mark, just the breaking news. Iran just hit the Dimona, and here is the footage. 20 people were hit. And it's happening.
So I saw these reports before we sat down. I checked the news, and they were still reports. But so the story is the U.S., after
Knowledge doesn't pay you, execution does. But execution is where emotions take over, and most creators fail because of it.
Launching these attacks on the South Pars field and then backing down is trying another escalatory step. And they hit the Bushehr nuclear plant. Well, not the plant itself, but buildings out as part of the complex yesterday. And today, evidently, they hit the Natanz nuclear enrichment site. And Iran has responded by upping them on the escalatory ladder and firing back at Dimona. And for those who don't know, Dimona is a nuclear power plant for Israel, but more importantly, it's also where they do nuclear enrichment and build their nuclear weapons. That is another of Iran's nuclear options. And actually, when I was involved in war games, when I was in university, this was an option to always play against Israel. If Israel uses a nuke, you hit this site in Israel, and it's effectively your own nuke.
So what you have now, because this thing is escalating, like I say, it went from attacking each other, military targets, to starting to attack, critical infrastructure, water, oil, and now they're starting to target each other's nuclear facilities, man. Okay. Now, what you have to understand with the nuclear facilities, all right. So how nuclear works, even in a regular nuclear bomb. Okay. So a nuclear bomb is 2 explosions. So when you look at a nuclear bomb, the first explosion that you hear, that you see from a nuclear bomb, is an atomic explosion. Okay. And the atomic explosion, that starts the nuclear reaction. Okay, so it's 2 explosions in the nuclear bomb. It's the initial atomic bomb that ignites, the nuclear reaction. Okay, so if you have, these nuclear power plants, these nuclear reactors, that's why I call it nuclear reactors. Okay, because it has a potential, to react to an explosion. Okay, so if you hit that nuclear plant directly, with weaponry strong enough, well, you start a nuclear reaction. Okay, and ultimately it's a nuclear explosion, just like a nuclear bomb. So what he's saying, the small hats keep saying, well, we're gonna nuke Iran. And even if Iran doesn't have a nuke, which we'll find out soon the way this thing going. Okay. We'll find out in at the end of this thing. I won't say soon as far as but we'll find out at the end of this thing what everybody got. Okay, as these other prophecies, unfold, the MOTB, the civil unrest, the famines, as these things unfold and we get close to the end of the war, we're gonna see what everybody got. But just speaking as far as escalation, all right, if Iran was to directly hit that nuclear reactor, all right, and what they did, they made sure not to hit the reactor, but they hit around it, and they injured, said 100+ people. Reports say 100+ people. Okay, but they hit around that reactor to let the small hats know, like, look, whatever you do is coming back. It's coming back directly. Okay, it's gonna come back quickly. So you hit this reactor, you hit our reactor, we're gonna hit your reactor. Okay, and the small hats, they can't take, the nuclear. If they hit Iran's nuclear reactor, it's gonna be devastating. But Iran is crazy big. Okay, Iran hit the small hats nuclear reactor. The small that little piece of land can't take that type of impact like that. So this is where they at as far as the escalation ladder, man. And he's gonna go into, and remember, he's an expert at war games. Okay, and what they call game theory. So they know about this, what you call an escalation ladder we talk about. but he's going to expound on that. But that's, the situation he's explaining. So let's play this some more.
Right. I would suspect that this was probably a warning shot, right? Wasn't something that was intended to, completely destroy the reactor, or if those reactors are actually built to withstand a lot of damage. So there's a question about that. But this was probably a warning shot, right? Because the same thing at Bushehr. Bushehr is a really interesting case. Bushehr is nuclear power plant in Iran. It was largely constructed by Russia, and it's run to a large extent by Russians. The Rosatom had, at the beginning of this conflict, some 640 personnel there, right, who were operating this plant. Now, I did read about a week ago that hundreds of them were evacuated, but you have to imagine, I don't know how many, but there were still some there. And I saw the strikes at Bushehr yesterday by Israel as essentially a threat to Russia: get all your people out of the country now, and probably stop helping Iran as well, which of course Russia's not going to respond well to. But
so, and remember, the IDF, they're constantly, they poke Iran until they activated the wild boar, and now they're poking at Russia until they activate the bear. And America just gonna be getting skull drugged through all this, man. Okay, the small hats, they're the weakest. Okay, in the conflict. Okay, they're the weakest party in the conflict. You see, but they wield the most influence when it comes to, all right, provoking these other nations, man. Okay, because remember, we looked at yesterday how those Israelis, they targeted a RT journalist. It was a Russian TV journalist in Lebanon. Okay, they already, they didn't directly hit a Russian building in Iran, but it was so close that it blew out the windows to the building, to the Russian facility, where Russian diplomats was there. Okay, knocked them to the floor. Okay, then you have this incident where you have Russian technicians in this nuclear facility, and Israel struck, okay, close to this vicinity. Okay, so these small hats, they're doing everything in their power to bring about Ezekiel 38, which is eventually it's going to come. Okay, and they're going to be obliterated, man. So you have the weakest party, within this conflict, and they're kicking up the most dust because that's their role, to draw them out. Okay, so let's play a little bit more of this.
But following with the attack on Natanz today, that presents it with a different image. It's not just a threat to Russia. It is a step up the escalatory ladder, hitting Iranian nuclear sites. And Iran is in that mode, tit for tat, bam. And not just a straight up tit for tat. They just go right up the escalatory ladder, right? It's not tit for tit, it's tit for tat. And so they go for Dimona. And like I said, this first one was probably a warning shot where they demonstrate what they can do. But this is great.
Mark, just let me show another footage that just came out.
I have a question. You can ask me anything.
Whoa. 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 How about
Things are completely out of control, right? You see, we started off with mostly, the decapitation strikes by the U.S. and Israel, and then attacks primarily on military sites, right? Not only exclusively, right? Then we started to see oil depots being hit on both sides, right? And then we saw this big escalation this week with the Israeli-U.S. attacks on the South Pars gas field, Iran's response against Ras Laffan and the other facilities, and now we're hitting nuclear sites. We're just jumping up. We're not climbing the escalatory ladder. We're like jumping rungs at this point, right? Because the U.S. is freaking out. They're by the relative power between Iran and the U.S. and Israel. They have very different levels of victory in this. The U.S. outright said that their goal is regime change, right? Trump says he wants to decide the next supreme leader of Iran, right? I mean, they were quite clear about this. Netanyahu, this is the culmination of 40 years of my life's work to get the U.S. to fight this war for us. So they set the bar very high, and now the conflict has gotten so nasty at such a quick level, is moving up the escalation ladder, and the Israel continuing decapitation strikes. It's really hard to find an exit ramp to step down from this conflict. Even to de-escalate is very hard at this point.
And we talked about that, man. And the Lord, this is the Lord's doing. Okay? He said they're not just climbing, the escalation ladder. They're jumping from rung to rung. It's just escalate. Just keep escalating, man. Okay? Day for day is escalating. That these small hats, they'll do something in Iran and come back, and now they on a whole nother level. They're on a whole nother rung. Okay, so they're running up this escalation ladder. You see, all these talks about off ramps. Hey, they passing all the exits, man. Okay, and they just headed there, man. You see, was this going to speed up the collapse? It's going to speed up the economic hardships. Okay, the grid allergies and the false flags and the black swan event. So these devils got to come with it, man, because the Lord has got his feet on the gas, man. It's the Lord got his feet on the gas, man. Okay, prophecies in the driver's seat, man. Okay, and the elites, they got to come on with the moves they gonna make, man, because this thing is just constantly escalating, man. So let's get these few. I got a couple more videos I want to get. This is the brother. All right, warriors like Hawashai, Jeremiah 51:46. It says, "And at least your heart faint, and ye fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land. A rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that, in another year, shall come a rumor, and violence, okay, and violence in the land, ruler against ruler, man." And this is what we at now, is violence in the land. Okay, it's violence in the land now. Okay, they're going. This isn't change. They're banging over there, man. Okay, and it's going to continue to escalate and increase, and other nations are going to get directly involved. Okay, as these nations begin to suffer economically more and more, they're going to have to activate these militaries, man. Okay, these nations is trying to hold out and trying to be neutral and trying to play the sideline. Nah, man, niggas gonna have to get in the game. Okay, and the Lord, all right, he made this thing regional. Now it's global. It started off, it started out regional. Immediately, it became a regional war. All right, and now it's global because everyone's affected by this, man. Okay, there's no nation that's going unaffected by what's happening, man. Okay, so let's get this one. This is brother Yashima, tribe of Judah, Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. Okay, so the Lord has seasons for everything. All right, according to the purpose that he wants. And we know, all right, that this third world war is according to the Lord's purpose. Okay, to end the rulership of Esau, Edom. Okay, put down these heathens. All right, and establish Yahweh. Okay, so we know that this war has a purpose according to the Heavenly Father. The elite's purpose are going to fail. We watch these niggas and see how they're moving. Okay, as far as how they're going to try to come in with this new system. Okay, but we know it's going to fail. Their purpose is going to fail. The purpose of the Lord is going to succeed. Okay, the purpose of Esau and all these nations is going to fail, but the purpose of the Lord, okay, the Heavenly Father through Yahweh, that's going to succeed. Okay, verse 8. It says, a time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace, man. And it's wartime. Okay? It's wartime, man. Like he said it's hard to find an off ramp and it's hard to de-escalate, man, with the way things are going. They're just climbing, they're just running up this escalation ladder, man. You know, and they're not even a month in. You see? This war is moving quickly, man. So let's go from there. Let's go here. Let's see. Then you got Yemen. You know, they just announced that they're going to join the fray. So let's play this. Let's play this a little bit dealing with Yemen. Okay. And then we'll look at the map, kind of show you the strategic importance of that. So let's play this.
To be in response to the Israeli and U.S. aggression against Iran and the axes of resistance countries, and they will now be party to this conflict. They said they'll target any American ships, warships in the Red Sea, and this is a distinct, changing course since the end of the American bombardment. I forget the name of the operation Trump used, but Trump used this, operation where they were bombing with the U.S. Carrier Strike Group, Yemen relentlessly, bunch of civilian targets about a year ago now. And that all ended with fighter jets, U.S. fighter jets sinking to the bottom of the ocean, almost getting shot out of the sky, and Trump withdrawing from the region. The goal was to protect Israeli and American ships to be able to travel through the Red Sea. Yemen's Ansar Allah made it safe for, in their agreement, they said, okay, we agree to a ceasefire. We will not target American ships, but we will continue to target Israeli ships. So Israeli ships see for the past.
They on the small ass head. Okay. And like I say, Yemen already ran because people hear the Houthi rebels or Yemen and laugh, but nigga, they already ran the U.S. Navy out the Red Sea. Okay. They already had the U.S. Navy dodging missiles and throwing aircrafts off the ship. Okay. You see, these are the things that are not well known or being spoken of. All right. Now, Yemen, can they, all right, match American Navy? No. All right. Can they go toe to toe with American Air Force? No. They just need to do what they need to do strategically to put hell on this campaign and see Iran's proxies are joining the fight. Here it is. You got these first world countries, all these EU nations, okay, with these billions and trillions of dollars, all this high-tech weaponry, okay, they're not joining into this, man. But you got these Iranian proxies, they jumping in. Hezbollah activated, they giving them small heads hell, okay, in the north. Okay, the small heads, they wreaking havoc in southern Lebanon, but Hezbollah is wreaking havoc on northern Israel. There's a war. It's going to go back and forth. But Hezbollah been activated. You have these Iranian proxies because what's been shooting down these American refuel tankers has been Iranian proxies. And guess what? Now America has had, because they used to be able to fly, okay, to the coast of Saudi Arabia and stay on the other side of the Persian Gulf, all right, and do strikes into Iran and fly back and get refueled and go back to the base. But now with them tankers going down, now they're trying to do direct flights into Iran, and they done lost 6 F-35s, 5 to 6 F-35s, which are supposed to be stealth fighter jets. They're supposed to be undetectable. Well, nigga, they being detected. Okay? And the reason they have to try to take these risky chances is because that system they had of refueling Iranian proxies in Iraq shot that down. Okay, so you have all these Iranian proxies activated in this war. They jumped in. But then you look at the West, it's just a small hats in America, man. Okay, that's because Esau a goddamn coward. Okay, and he see it ain't sweet. You see, so these EU nations, all right, all these NATO, all that Article 5, they can start talking about Article 5. They can ball whatever agreement that NATO is, you can ball it up and set fire to it, man. Okay, so here it is. Yemen is activated, in which that can be very strategic, and we'll get into how. We'll let him spill about another minute, and we'll get into that.
Last year, after the American bombing operation on Yemen occurred and came to a close, and the U.S. was allowed to send their ships through the Red Sea. But Trump, after that operation, he was speaking in the White House, and he said, the Yemenis are courageous, they're brave, they're strong fighters. He said all these very nice things about the Yemenis because he recognized he had to leave that conflict without securing the safe passage of Israeli ships through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. That's a tactical defeat, you might say. That's a tactical defeat. If the goal was to wipe out Ansar Allah, wipe out the Houthis, and it all ended with U.S. warships in the Red Sea and getting shot out of the sky, and they couldn't even secure the safe passage of Israeli cargo ships through the Red Sea, that is a defeat. But of course, no one really paid attention to that because it wasn't so big in the news. Kind of big in the news, but not so big in the news. This time, however, Yemen has obviously prepared a lot more for the shutting down of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. This time, it is going to be a much bigger problem for everyone involved because Saudi Arabia can still transfer.
Is it possible to define the single best stock trade every single day? I'm Emily Turner.
Their oil, their cargo through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Saudi Arabia does, despite the fact that they do most of their shipments from the Persian Gulf, they do some shipments, some sea shipments through the Red Sea. And now one can assume that there is a strong possibility that the Red Sea shipping will now be, Saudi Arabia will be persona non grata in the Red Sea, as will everyone else. Okay, there will be no opportunity for anyone to do any shipping through the Red Sea. So Saudi Arabia will be completely cut off. They will not be able to ship through the Persian Gulf. They will not be able to ship through the Red Sea. No one will be able to get anything in or out. Okay, they're completely screwed. So this is going to be a major blow to the financial interests in the region. The Houthis have announced that if Saudi Arabia, Jordan, or the UAE try to intercept missiles headed towards Israel, which they have done many times in the past, they will be treated as part of Israel. So this is how the conflict could erupt in a very big way and become very, very painful for the UAE and for Saudi Arabia in particular, because it was the UAE, it was Saudi Arabia in tandem with the United States who committed a decade-long genocidal war against the Yemenis and starved them to death, bombed their civilians in every single city, in rural areas, suburban areas, wherever it is. They said, we warn the Arab countries, especially Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, against intercepting the missiles coming from Iran and Yemen and the entire resistance axis against the Zionist entity. Any country that intercepts our missiles will be treated as an inseparable part of the Zionist entity, and he who is warned has no excuse. So that's not going to go well.
And he that is warned have no excuse. Hard. All right. So yeah, Yemen told Saudi, Jordan, or UAE, nigga, if you intercept anything, nigga, you part of this war. We're gonna treat y'all as co-belligerents in this war. Okay, and they putting their pressure on these Gulf Arab states, man, because these Gulf Arab states are nothing but do boys and lapdogs for these Western governments, the British and America, man. All right, and that's why them niggas so nasty over there, man. They're in Saudi Arabia. That's why they fly Eve out and do the what they call the porta potty. All right. Why they so goddamn nasty, man? Because they're turned out by Esau, man. Okay. And their pressure being put on their ass now, man. So now Yemen saying, look, nigga, you intercept anything we send to Israel, okay, nigga, you a part of the fight. Nigga, we sending shots at you next. Okay. So it's pressure on the Gulf Arab states from all sides, man. All right. Pressure is out there, man. Hey, we here. See, this is because we gotta deal with both sides. You know, of course, you have the economic plays at hand by the elites to usher in the new world order in the midst of this. Okay, but then you also have to realize this is an actual war. Okay, this is a real war going on. Okay, you got to deal with both sides of it. Okay, it's a balance. You know, you watch. You know what the elites how they trying to play and manipulate what moves they making. You know, for the economic. All right, because they know they want to crash everything. Okay, but then you gotta look at the real war according to prophecy and all these different nations that's coming in. Okay, and the alliances that's being made that line up with biblical prophecy, man. Because this is actual war. Okay, so I think I left the links of all the videos. Okay, uh, I want to play this. Matter of fact, I'll play this in the last few minutes of this. I think it's about 2 minutes. Let me share this. This will be my last one. Matter of fact, put this first. Okay, because Yemen has the ability to cut off the Red Sea. Now, when you look at the Red Sea, first just look at the map real quick. Look at the map. All right. So we hold on. All right. Let me try to do that. So when you look at the map, all right, you see Yemen, you see the Persian Gulf, the Strait of Hormuz. All right here. Okay, which that blocks all this oil coming out. Okay, from the Gulf Arab states. And then you have this here. All right, in Yemen, which Yemen has the ability to shut down the Red Sea. Okay, right here off their southern border. All right, their western, their southwest, border. Okay, they can shut down the Red Sea. They've done it. All right, and the small head still can't get shipping through the Red Sea. Okay, to this day. Okay, but now they can ratchet down and really shut that all the way down. Okay, now let's go into the Red Sea. What's the strategic importance of the Red Sea? Okay, so the Lord got this thing, because it's the Lord that orchestrated all this, man. Because the Most High is a man of war, so He put these nations, certain locations, geographically, all right, for His purpose, man. Okay, so let's go. Yeah. So I just looked it up real quick. I said how vital is the shipping that comes through the Red Sea. It said the Red Sea is a critical artery for global trade, handling roughly 12 to 15% of total international maritime trade and 30% of global container traffic, connecting Asia and Europe via the Suez Canal. Its disruption forces rerouting around South Africa, adding 10 to 17 days. All right, in transit, surging shipping rates and delaying energy and goods, causing major economic bottlenecks. Vital economic corridor. It is the fastest, most efficient route between Asia and Europe for manufactured goods and consumer products and machinery. A significant portion of the world's oil and liquid natural gas passes through the Bab el Mandeb Strait, crucial for European energy security. Man, the EU gonna have to do something. They shut the Red Sea. EU gonna have to do something, man. And what they're gonna do, they're gonna activate against the whore. Okay, because it's America and these small hats leading with these small hats and got all this shit started, man. Okay, global supply chain stability, 20 to 30% of global container traffic passes through the route. Disruption caused shortages and increased costs for retailers and manufacturers globally, man. Okay, so as Yemen get involved, okay, and they completely shut that down, they can have another, all right, major ripple, on the flow of goods, man. Okay, so this thing is constantly escalating, man. We're gonna see how Yemen, if they've been activating the main thing. All right, their their leverage that they have is their Red Sea being able to shut that down. Okay, so we're gonna watch and see. It's gonna be interesting to see how Yemen come in. And if they're gonna immediately shut their Red Sea. Shut down the flow of traffic coming through the Red Sea, man. Okay, so let's play this real quick, and we'll end it with this one. Okay, play the last few minutes of Pepe. All right.
They have the top of the line missiles and their top of the line drones, which are geraniums from Russia, remodified into new Shahids. They are in the eastern and southeastern part of Iran. None of them was reached by Israeli or American bombing so far. Only the ones in the western part or the southwestern part. And that's why the Pentagon has been saying we killed everything inside, or we bombed everything inside. Maybe on the western part, the southwestern part of Iran, maybe, but not in most of the eastern part near the Afghan border or the southeastern part near the Pakistani border. No, everything is still there, intact, absolutely intact. Apart from that, they keep retweaking their described by the Iranians decentralized mosaic strategy. So sometimes it's we're going to have more ballistic missiles and less drones in this volley, but in the next volley is going to be completely different. Guess who taught them how to do that? Russians learned in Ukraine in terms of coordinating ballistic missile volleys and drone volleys and how to play with that. They taught the Iranians their modus operandi in detail. This is extremely important. So we have this, let's say, intel op by the Russians on one side, and the Chinese op is way more complex because it's 24/7 high-tech satellite intel provided to the Iranians. And that explains the accuracy they are doing. Which brings us to the first shooting in the history of humanity of an invisible F-35.
So just to prove the point on how, just to prove on how much involved, all right, China and Russia are in this war, all right, behind Iran, okay? And it's going to come a time they're going to have to get directly involved, okay? But the way Iran is running this war, they learned a lot of it from Russia, man. The chief prince, okay? Be a guard unto them. You see? So this is war. This is the war that the Bible speaks of, and this is the war that the Bible prophesied about that we're seeing taking place. All the players are being activated, man. They're actively engaged in this war. Okay, so let's go here. Let's get this real quick. All right, I think the brother got it. Yeah, because we hear it says, Yashima tribe of Judah, Revelation 11:14. It said the second woe was past, and behold, the third woe coming quickly, man. The third woe coming quickly, man, and it's here, and it's escalating quickly. So these devils, man, prepare. Prepare to see these devils. All right, rush this new world order agenda out, man. Okay, because things are speeding up. They know they have a short time, and things are happening quickly. That's why everything is related to quickly. Well, how should I say? Matter of fact, if a brother want to post that, we can end that. Revelation 16:15. Okay, and we can end it with that. I think I put all the links. I'll be trying to remember to put the links to all these different videos. All right, brothers can check out. But yeah, everything is revolving around quickly. All right, short time. Okay, because the Most High is cutting this devil off, man. Okay, he saw Edom. He had a set time to rule, and we come to the end of that time, and he's not going to go past a second. Okay, or the allotted time. All right, that the Lord wants this devil to rule. Okay, so let me see. Yep. So let's read it here. It says, it's Revelation 16 and 15. It says, "Behold, I come like a thief. All right. Blessed is he who stays away and keeps his clothes, all right, with him, so that he may not go naked and be shamefully exposed." And reading, posting the KJV. Yeah, Bob shot the KJV, bro. Because put the emphasis on the quickly. How the Lord how Yahweh Shai, all right, is going to come quickly. Let's see. Posted. Yeah, so this is here, but the water for posting it, bro. I just like how it's worded in the KJV. It says, "Behold," all right, Revelation 16:15. "Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he's walk naked and they see his shame." So Yahweh Shai is coming, as a thief, man. And it's gonna be quickly. All right, Yahweh Shai is gonna enter, okay, into this war quickly. See how everything is escalating quick. Well, Yahweh Shai, he's coming into this thing quickly, man. Okay, so he's gonna come as a thief, man, and that's why, scripture say be on our watch, man, because things are happening so fast, man. Like, we have to be on our watch. You miss an hour, you miss a lot. And we all do what we can, man. That's why you got the body, because there's no way one person can catch everything, man. But as a unit, the Lord has set up watchmen to watch these things play out, man, and unfold and develop, and go into these things according to prophecy, man. Okay? And we don't want to be found naked, man, which is, engulfed in this world. Nah, man, we want to be clothed, okay, with faith, with obedience, with patience, man, waiting on our power. Okay, so that's the point. Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders, GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples for his younger brothers, and peace and blessing, salutation to the hopeful, like Shalom.